Good evening, everyone. This is Donna Reyes, and you are watching Kwentong GK Next Gen. This evening, we have John Harin as my co-host. Hi, John.
Hey, good morning, good evening, everybody. Nice to be back.
Kumusta?
Ayos naman.
You're actually
I'm
one of the
so...
favorites that we've
Oh,
guested on the show. Yes, and
awesome.
it's one of the most shared and also most viewed. Dahil
Oh my goodness.
gusto nila, they like watching good-looking people. Lax naman.
Oh, thank you. Volatile dyan.
Well,
All right.
for those of you who are maybe watching us for the first time, or those of you who are following us every week, this used to be a weekly program on it's Kwentong GK. That's broadcast live on Facebook, on Gawad Kalinga USA's Facebook page. But since we celebrated our first year anniversary, we have been doing this once a month, every second Thursday of the month. And this has been our third monthly installment. And it's just more exciting, there's more stuff to talk about. And now I get to have a host. So this
Yay.
Excited to have John with me. So John, first of all, let's greet everyone a happy Veterans Day. Today
Happy Veterans Day. Yes,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes, and special greeting to my husband, Robbie, who served in the U.S. Army Airborne.
Right.
Siraki.
Wow.
Yes, thank you for your service, and thank you for the service of everyone, especially the Filipino World War II veterans. No, so
Right.
them a long time before they got the Congressional Gold Medal, but they finally received it. There's only a few of them living, right? But
Right.
we are very proud of you, and we're very thankful for your service. All right.
Right.
Also, we want to talk about in this, this first few minutes, we want to talk about the Gawad Kalinga, Kusina ng Kalinga program that has been happening actually all over the Philippines, but we want to specifically talk about the feeding program in Mindanao. Nakapunta ka na ba ng Mindanao, John? Have you?
Hindi pa. I have never been to the Mindanao area.
No?
So, no, never.
Never.
I want to, right?
Yeah, well, let me tell you my experience. I have been to Mindanao, but this was a long time ago. Maybe, oh my gosh, I'm gonna date me again. 1990, I was in college. I think second year college yata ako nun. And I remember I went to North Cotabato and climbed Mount Apo. And then,
wow.
Yeah, the peak of Mount Apo, 30 pounds ago, John.
Trekker ka pala, trekker.
Yeah, when I can walk up the mountain like that. And then coming down, we went to North Cotabato. And I remember all the stores would have, like in Manila, you would have security guards. That's normal.
Right.
Well, there are security guards. In North Cotabato, there were military. Those were the security guards, were military. And it was a little bit,
intimidating.
A little bit, right? A little bit.
Right.
When I heard about what Gawad Kalinga is doing in Mindanao and in the areas and conflict areas talaga, like in Sulu, right, in particular, in all of those, areas there, I think about like, oh my gosh, ang tapang ng mga tao who are going there, right? They're very brave because, a lot of them are not really from there, right?
Right.
They go there and they establish these community kitchens, what is it called? Care kitchens, right? Kusina ng Kalinga.
Care kitchens.
And they establish, kitchen there to feed hungry children. So Kusina ng Kalinga, feeding 0 to 12 years old. So yung infant pa lang to 12 years old, right? And it's actually Gawad Kalinga's response to malnutrition in the country. So, talagang very alarming ang malnutrition statistics in the country. I know, for those of you who haven't, spoken to John or did not catch that episode with John is actually a physician, is a medical doctor, right? It's a nurse practitioner in Like that's your background
Right. So I mean, 0 to 12 years old, very, very important years of a person's life. It's a formative years. So imagine I always imagine my kids. They're 9 and 11, Santino and Isabella. And I remember when I was a kid, I eat a lot because your body's transforming, you're maturing, your brain is growing.
Yeah.
If you don't have nutrition, you can't be who you want to be. They will forever be stuck at that level. They cannot mature, they cannot develop. So I think what Gawad Kalinga has been doing for many, many years is very important, as evidenced by some of these children are already professionals, right? They graduated from the schools of Gawad Kalinga too. So I could just see how much impact the kusina ng Kalinga is for our children, for our Filipino children, hungry children. So if the kids are telling you, "Mom, I'm hungry. Dad, I'm hungry," you feed them. We always, we take it for granted, especially here in the States, because food is abundant. But we have the picking of doing healthy foods, all of those things. But the children in the Philippines, they don't have those choices. And at least the only choice that they have is nutritious food. So that's why it's very, very important. So this one is really close to my heart because I'm a dad. So I know how important it is to feed your kids. I have an ongoing fundraising, the Portraits of Charity. So I take photos, and Kusina ng Kalinga is my primary sponsor to feed the kids. Because a lot of people can, relate to that.
Yeah. Alam mo, it's super alarming talaga, these statistics. Now, let me just read this to you. It says here, the current state of malnutrition in the Philippines. It says each day around 95 children in the country die from malnutrition, right? And this is from the UNICEF. And they said that 1 in 3 Filipino children under 5 years old are stunted, which means they are too short for their age, while roughly 7% of children are too thin for their height, right? Children, they're 9 and 11 years old, right?
Right, 9 and 11.
They're in that 0 to 12 years old that kusina ng Kalinga is feeding, right? So can you imagine if Isabella and Santino are one of these children that of these 95, around 95 children in the country now die of malnutrition.
Right. Imagine their growth, the physical manifestation is just growth stunted, right? Imagine their brain, what their brain is. Even though all of the functions are there, if my words are not coming out. It's really hard to imagine.
Right. And so, ang response niya ng Gawad Kalinga is yung kusina ng Kalinga nga, no? So, established a care kitchen, a kitchen in Mindanao, right? Actually, there is this one. Hold on one second. This one it's actually sponsored by a Filipina named Kate Shaw and husband Dave Curry, who's an American. And with the support of Gawad Kalinga USA, Ateneo de Manila, Ben Debres, the Patikul Kusina ng Kalinga was formally opened in August of this year lang. And this is in response to the worsening problem of malnutrition in Sulu, right? So, pinifeed nila is 300 children. But this one, they are actually feeding 500 children. And it's managed by mothers, headed by Suraima Pito, or Pito, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. She's a kapitbahayan member of Gawad Kalinga Parsupatan Village and wife of kapitbahayan President Edmond Pito, or Pito. Right? So hindi lang, so this is really a concerted effort, right, by by different.
It's not just GK. It's different.
Yeah, it's not
people.
just GK. It's not really dole out where okay, you give them money and then they just and then they just receive it or something like that. But everyone is talaga, So with of course we want to thank Kate Shaw and her husband David Curry, right? And GKUSA, but also Father Ben Mebres of the Ateneo de Manila. But this is also made possible by the mothers in the communities, right? In these areas. They are actually served by barangays in Igasan, Lower and Upper Liang, and Sanda. And these used to be conflict-affected areas. Now they are areas where where positive things are happening with with the feeding of the children with the community, really working together, right, to feed these children. So
and also the government is also involved because they know the mission of Gawad Kalinga is very important. And I mean, the team from the Philippine National Police 7th Special Action Battalion, Special Action Force, and 6th Special Forces Battalion of the Philippine Army, they provide a bigger bulk of the daily manpower to the kitchen. So it's a very, very team effort.
Correct. And that's what I love about Gawad Kalinga too, is that it's never about one person. It's never even about one group, but really
definitely
of people in different sectors in society that Gawad Kalinga is really able to, to reach out to and collaborate with. It's really a collaborative effort. So I think that's really, for me personally, that's what makes Gawad Kalinga stand out among, other organizations, of course, who are also doing great things. But that's one thing that I really love about Gawad Kalinga. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Well, actually, announcement. Did you know? You said you.
Did you know?
So siguro most of the people who are also watching this did not know that there's going to be a young adult summit in February.
Wow. Kasali pa tayo dyan, Donna, right? Nasa age bracket pa tayo ng young adults.
Doon nga parang medyo nga ako dyan medyo nag-aalangan ako. I feel awkward. I'm not quite young anymore, but I actually, you and I participated in that young adults summit.
Yes. Right? They need supervision from you. We need supervision from you.
Ano ako, high school principal.
Proctor. Adult proctor.
Yeah, so
but kidding aside, this is exciting for me because it's just new blood for everybody, new ideas, right?
Yes.
It's a culmination of many things.
Well, I see us, John, as maybe bridge, right, between generations. We're not quite what Tito Tony Meloto said before, the pre-departure age. Yung mga pre-departure age are yung mga retired na, okay, before you go, leave a good legacy for the next generation.
Right. When our generation is, from analog to digital, nandun tayo sa gitna yun. We were analog in the kids, na may digital environment then. So I guess tama ka. Bridge tayo. We're bridge.
Bridge tayo, di ba? And that is, no, seriously, that is very important too, because we don't want to, lose the young generation of Filipinos who may have been born and raised here in the US and may not even be familiar with their own heritage and culture, right? And then their lolos and lolas, who are people who have retired, or already, it might be generation gap for them to, to understand, each other, So maybe our generation is the bridge. I'd like to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Parang weird magpanggap na millennial, di ba? Or sabi ni my husband said we are half centennial.
Centennial.
50 already. So, we're up there, right? Well, tayong dalawa dyan, we can't pretend, right?
Yes.
To be millennials, but we actually have, for our special guest this evening, a real millennial, right? From that generation, baka nga younger pa tong guest natin. We'll find out more about him. But he's actually one of the special artists that we will feature in our virtual concert that is happening on December 11. Right now, let me share that right here. It's happening in. Yeah, can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is Gawad Kalinga USA's virtual celebration of hope through music featuring world-class Filipino talents, right? We're calling it Rising Together.
Rising.
Going to be hosted and featuring national artists for music, Maestro Ryan Cayabyab and the Ryan Cayabyab Singers, with special performances by Gary V. Yan ang generation natin, John.
Yes, yes.
AJ, Rafael, and Kiana V. Right? And this evening, I'm very excited to have with us, John, and our, and our viewers here, one of the special artists that will be featured in that concert. Please welcome AJ Rafael. Awesome! you can tell you're a musician. Your timing is like
incredible. I came just on time. It was
yes.
I was like 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's awesome. How are you, AJ?
Good. And I am a millennial, so you are correct. My youngest sister is what is the next gen after us? Y? No. Z. Gen Z.
Gen Z, correct. Yeah.
I can't even keep up with these names. Oh my God.
I know. It's crazy. But it's I'm doing good. I'm a little under the weather today, but I'm glad to be on and chatting with you guys.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us, despite the fact that you're not feeling so well, but hopefully this will not be too painful. John, enjoy this conversation. I hope you will too.
Yes,
right.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, I was mentioning earlier that you and I actually met. Well, I met you and your group. So I don't know if you'd remember back in 2013 doing the Bayani tour, where you came with Jeremy.
Jeremy Passion
and John Vincent, is it?
Yeah, Joseph Vincent and some other artists as well who, and I met my friend Gabby Borromeo, who's a musician and a model as well, but she's been good friends with me since that tour as well. So a lot of really great connections happened during that tour, and I'm glad that we connected. That's almost 10 years ago now.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's been so.
It seems like
you are a millennial. I remember you guys, brought your house down over there. You played music, and it was just very, it was very.
Yeah, it was fun because I believe it was. I don't know if it was Jeremy's first time or Joseph's, but it must have been. They haven't been as much as I have. I have been going to the Philippines every year since like 2005. And, I think there really was first of all, there's a culture shock for, especially Filipino American who comes from America there. They don't realize, the kind of class gaps, that happens in the Philippines. And, they were really, shook by that. And then also there's a lot of joy with the people from the Philippines and the fans and stuff. And they were singing all of our songs back to us, even though, we're just YouTube musicians. And we're not really, on a record label or anything, but they really connected with our music all the way in the Philippines. And, it obviously helps that we're Filipino as well. But that trip was really important for them and for me too.
Well, the Philippines is one of the top users of YouTube, right? Viewers of YouTube and social media. So it's not a surprise that you probably have the biggest following there as well.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah.
So was that your first time to be a part of Gawad Kalinga, the Bayani tour, or have you been involved with Gawad Kalinga prior to that?
Yeah. So I remember my very first benefit concert that GK was the receiving charity for, and it was at Cal State San Bernardino. And I remember this because Jeremy Passion was part of that show too. And also a big MySpace artist by the name of Colby Calais at the time. You know, she ended up becoming a radio artist, and you know, she has a lot of fans in the Philippines too.
Yeah.
But she was the big headliner there. And this is when I'm just still kind of starting out, 2007. So it was very, it was one of those shows for me where I'm like, oh, I'm playing with a big artist, you know? And then, so I always remembered that, you know, it was a benefit for GK, and learning about, you know, Gawad Kalinga's message, and it literally means give care. That's what Gawad Kalinga is. And I just remember it inspiring me as well to, you know, always give back wherever I can, you know. And then the Bayani tour 5 years after that, in the Philippines, really just helped cement that into, you know, who I am as a person. So all of these are, you know, these run-ins with GK and other charities who do so much for, you know, people less fortunate than us has been important parts of my journey.
So those trips really transformed your opinion about Philippines, and not just from the States, but your immersion in the Philippines really cemented those things for you.
Yeah, yes, the Bayani tour trip in 2013 specifically, especially being able to visit is it called the farm, the GK farm? Mm-hmm. Getting to be there, you know, with the kids, you know, there were some people who are starting small businesses there, you know, things like that was really eye-opening, and yes, has played a tremendous part in the way I view the world, the Philippines specifically, and just wanting to always find ways to give back. So, you know, when I was approached to do this concert, you may be asking me this question soon, I don't know, like why I said yes to the concert. But, you know, let me flawlessly transition over to the next. When I hear GK, it's automatic for me. I will, you know, if I'm free that date, if I'm able to do the concert, you know, that's the impact that it's had on me. It's like, oh yeah, easy. Wow. I got to do that.
Sorry, I was on mute. But why is that? What is it about GK that drew you to it? Well, organizations are also doing great things, right?
Of course.
Karina.
Yeah, and I don't think, you know, automatically doing some GK with GK, you know, takes away from any other organizations that I, you know, partner with and do things for. But yeah, I would say visiting that farm made a huge impression on me, you know, as a young person who is looking to do more than just make music for people. You know, I want to make a difference. And I have been, you know, I was raised in the church, helping doing benefit concerts for my church, and, you know, putting together, you know, choirs and directing choirs to raise money for certain things. So I've always had that kind of upbringing where my mom and my dad specifically, you know, he passed away when I was younger. He was a church musician, but they always instilled in me, you know, to always do things for others. But the thing about GK is it feels like it wants to end poverty, not just in a short-term way. And not to say that doing that is a negative in any way, but it feels like more of a long-term plan,
right?
You know, which is why I love talking to anybody who is part of the GK team or who is advocating for GK, is that it really feels like there is, a long-term thing that they're trying to do to end poverty. And yes, the Kusina stuff that y'all were talking about early, you know, that's literally feeding somebody right then and there, but it's also more than that. as well, building homes and all that stuff, community, right, which is a huge part. So yeah, that's what draws me to GK. That's a long-winded answer, but
No,
yeah.
that's great.
Right.
Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Yeah, AJ. So you're a singer. I know you're a singer. I know I've seen you play in your YouTube. I'm a subscriber.
Thank you.
uh, the music that you do is very easy on the ears. Your voice is very easy to the ears, and it inspires me to listen to music, do music too, right? I know you play the piano or keyboard. I've seen the ukulele or maybe guitar. Are there any other instruments that you haven't done? I mean, I haven't seen.
Well,
right?
Thank you, John, for those nice, kind words. I'm glad to inspire you to play music. That's one of the things in my that I would love to see on my gravestone, is that just like I inspired others, I brought people together, whether it's my music or not. So that means a lot. Thank you. But yeah, I grew up around like filling in for people at church. So if the bassist wasn't there, I'll go in if we had a piano player already. Even the drummers, like I played drums for mass a lot of times as well. So yeah, anything in a band, I can kind of show. If I have a vision, I'll play it. I even recorded on my very first albums when I was 15 in my garage. I recorded everything on that album, every instrument. But I know that there are people who are drummers, who are bassists and guitarists who know their lane very, very well. So it's cool that I'm able to communicate to them what I want to hear, and then they get to execute it way better than I do. But yeah, everything. I love to play everything.
Oh my goodness. Really, a real musician. It's not just singing. Because, Filipinos, they love music. Bring them to a karaoke bar and they'll bring the house down, right?
Absolutely.
But especially in a Filipino house, there's always a piano, right? There's always a piano. There's always a guitar. In our house, we have those things too. And you just play, right?
Yeah.
It brings people together. It's like a universal language. So tell us about your music. What inspires you to write your music?
A lot of things. And I see the chat. I want to say hi, Cyril and Leslie, and appreciate you guys. But yeah, the music for me is about storytelling. And my very first real full-length album called Red Roses, if you listen to it from beginning to the end, there's a storyline, which is really cool. And what inspires that too is being around a lot of musical theater. In recent years, I've been in a lot of theater productions as an actor and as a singer. But even before that, in high school and stuff, I was listening to a lot of musical theater, aside from pop, aside from the singer-songwriter stuff. So I really think that, if your song can tell the story, then it does its job. And there are a lot of music. There is a lot of music out there that's meant to just be good listening and, for the beat or whatever. But I really, whatever genre it is that I begin to start writing, I want to make sure there's a beginning, middle, and end. So, yeah, that's really what inspires my music. Yeah.
Hey, John, I know you follow AJ, like you said. You're only 1 million.
I know, but I get to talk to him face to face.
Now I understand why
Don't take that away from me, Donna.
You're only one of 1 million subscribers. Oh my God.
Exactly.
No, I appreciate every single person, old or new. And we were discussing before this. You recently found my wedding medley that I did.
Yeah, the wedding medley. Yes.
Yeah, the one with my fiance.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's a fairly new video. So, I appreciate that people are still discovering me to this day, even though I've been on YouTube for 15 years. And it's going to be 16 next year, which is crazy. And even before that, I was on MySpace. And that's what originally brought me to the Philippines outside of my family vacation. I was, still doing kind of big things on MySpace at the time. and people knew my music in the Philippines as well. And I had my first show at the Fort, and it was at a church, like a church service. So it wasn't a church, but it was a church service, and they invited me to play a song, and that was just through MySpace, you know. So yeah, the power of the internet has been really, really. It's the only thing that has made me be able to be a full-time musician.
That's awesome.
Hard though to, like you're a typical Filipino child, with typical Filipino parents. And
Yeah,
they are not. When we say typical, sorry, mom and dad, right?
I understand. Yeah.
Your path, as Jokoy would say, would be you're going to be a nurse or a doctor, an engineer, or, those things, but not a musician or not any kind of creative pursuit, right? Because they say there's, that's not stable. It's not going to give you a stable, income.
Right.
Was that hard for you and family?
Yeah, I'm lucky because my dad was a musician, and even though my mom was a nurse, like plenty of Filipinos are, she knew I wanted to continue my dad's legacy after he passed away, and she loved music too, and my sisters loved music, so it was a very, again, I was lucky. But I do understand the other side of the coin, where there are parents, especially Filipino Americans, because our parents have been through a lifetime worth journey just coming to the US, surviving, so it makes sense that they want you to have a stable job, because even though they go crazy for Gary Vee, they love all the musicians, they love art, they love entertainment. They know that it is rare. So of course, and even till now, my mom, when I'm doing auditions for acting and all these stuff, and my sisters are both in theater and acting as well, when we don't get auditions, or when we get rejected or whatever, we don't get a call back, my mom cries, she doesn't want to feel that way. She feels so bad that we have to go through rejection every day. And that is another reason why I would understand that Filipino parents or Asian parents in general would want us not to do something creative. So I see both sides of the token, but I'm glad that more Filipinos, more Asian Americans, more brown people are successful in what they do, and you can see them in the mainstream, and you can say, I can be like that person, because it only opens it up. And then now it doesn't have to be this exclusive club where parents are like, you have to be a doctor, lawyer, nurse, because it's more stable, but they see that it's more possible.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of our, of representation now, not a lot, but more now, right? Obviously it can be better, right? But I see more representation now about about the Filipino people in TV shows and,
different industries.
Yeah, so we see more of us, and I think, and I don't know how really, how when it started or how it started. Do you know, when you start seeing? I thought I just started seeing it last year, maybe. Yeah, no, seriously,
yeah. I totally feel you. I mean, out here, I think we've kind of accepted there's not going to be a ton of Filipinos, even when you're talking about Asian American representation. You're like, oh, there's one Filipino in Crazy Rich Asians. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, and sometimes it has to be that big for it to be celebrated. But again, me and Jeremy Passion, Gabe Bondoc, all these other Filipino musicians back in 2009, 2010, I feel like we, in our own ways and in our own communities, and yeah, this wasn't on mainstream or on TV or anything, but it's cool nowadays because people will come up to us and not just say, hey, you inspired me to play guitar, or you inspired me to play a song. They'll come up to us and literally maybe once a week, if I get recognized out, when I'm going shopping or whatever, someone is like, oh my God, I remember watching you back in the day. You really made me be proud to be Filipino. And that really means, the world to us, obviously, and it means a lot. But it does say something about the lack of representation, because, I mean, that's crazy that it took somebody on YouTube, because there wasn't anybody on TV or anything like that big enough for them to be like, wow, they're proud to be Filipino. They're not ashamed of their big nose. They're not ashamed of their brown skin, you know. So I'm happy to be a part of even in my own small world community of being proud to be Filipino.
Well, Dana, before we move on, there's been some
questions
and greetings. Here, this one is for John from Leslie. She said, "Woohoo, John! Thank you for always being helpful to us." That's our area director in the Midwest in Chicago. And then she also says, "Hi, AJ from GK Chicago."
Oh, hello.
And then from Cyril Francis Cabajo, "Hi, AJ from all the way from the Philippines, Cebu."
I haven't been to Cebu yet.
Too? I see there's, do you have some people that are posting also on your Facebook page?
Oh, I also just shared it to my community. I don't know if they're writing.
Yeah, I heard he said hi to one of them. I did not want to say hi to them too.
Oh, yes. I wanted to say, oh, it was lovely who liked my post. Hello, lovely.
All right. Well, do you think that you mentioned YouTube? So do you think, what if YouTube never happened? Is that something that, well, maybe, how do I say this? Do you think that YouTube really provided the platform for, for us, for Filipino Americans or Filipino talents to be recognized, that otherwise will be difficult to be recognized like on TV or like our more traditional media prior to the advent of YouTube and other social media platforms?
Yes. The short answer to that is yes. And in a lot of ways, it kind of helped and continues to, and social media in general continues to help even the playing field. Visibility does not naturally happen unless you get, well, back in the day, discovered by a record label or somebody or an A&R or something, and they put you on a stage and you're stuck in a contract. It's very cool that YouTube, allowed me to do whatever I wanted, and it was all about, having fun. I just put a laptop on and would play guitar, play piano, show people my original songs and stuff, and that grew into me recording my music, and then me getting hired to book concerts, and eventually I did make it out to ASAP and perform for Filipino, TV in the Philippines, right? Like it ends up kind of rolling into that, which is awesome. But of course, it started with YouTube. And I remember I was talking to JR, King of R&B, Bakit Baba, legend. He's one of my good friends now. And we played a show back in the day, 10 years ago. It was called FPAC here, Filipino. Oh my gosh, I forget what it stands for. But we played a show out here, and to me, he is big deal, right? Like he's like a legend. And when he came out here, he had seen my videos, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do a song together for the concert?" And I was like, "What? Really? Okay." So I played piano and sang with him. And for me, this is a big deal because I'm just a YouTube guy. And I remember JR telling me, because I was like, man, I wish I could perform every week on the show that I think he was with GMA at the time. Yeah. Like, I wish I could perform like you guys, y'all are doing for TV. And he was like, what are you talking about, man? A lot of us wish we could be like you, just like being able to almost take control of their career in a way, with the YouTube thing and doing videos, collaborations with everybody. It doesn't mean you're not locked to a TV station or things like that, So I really saw the power of, and how different it was from being Filipino in an industry that already exists, like in the Philippines. And then being out here where we didn't have something like that, where we had to make our own thing like that, which was our own YouTube channels.
Awesome.
Wow.
AJ and John, JR actually was here maybe a couple of weeks ago for a and one of the beneficiaries was Gawad Kalinga.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. I had the opportunity to work with him. He's actually the very first artist that I recommended to perform. So my job at GMA at that time, 2011 to end of 2013, about 2.5 years, I worked there. I was an events manager, right? So I would GMA artists to perform in events outside the Philippines because I was part of GMA International Department. And JR was it was actually the very first artist that I recommended.
Wow.
He's super talented, like you said, right? 2, he's Filipino American. So obviously, he can
That's right.
to the audience, right? And he can totally, not obviously, other artists are great as well, but when you have a Filipino American performing to the Filipino American audience, it's just a no-brainer, obviously. And that was the first event, and I was so nervous, obviously, and I did not get to go. So no one was, and because they said, well, he knows his, way around, blah, blah. He has his road manager, blah, blah, blah. But oh my gosh, he brought the house down in Navy Pier. I don't know if have you been to Chicago, AJ? I know John.
I haven't.
You haven't? So it was at the Navy Pier, which is one of the tourist spots in Chicago. And, and he just brought the house down to the point that they actually had problems with parking. And when they would typically, expect less than 500 people, they said they were over 2,000 people.
Wow.
So because of that, because of his performance there, this a rather smaller event, right, about less than 500, became the big Fiesta Pinoy that has been going on like yearly after 2012.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and then the following 2013, they couldn't have an artist because artists were banned because they couldn't hold the crowd. 2014, we brought another GMA artist because of JR's. So he's super, and he's super down to earth. Like you said, he's super, he's super, very, he doesn't have air, at all. Like he's not.
He's out of everybody I've met most of, the Filipino musicians out there, and they're all great. Something about JR where he's super nice to my mom. He surprised my mom at her wedding in Tagaytay last year before the COVID happened. I asked him to come and he did, and he had been just so friendly with my whole family. Like anytime he plays a show with me and stuff, he'll go out of his way, to be nice. So I just totally love that about him. And
All right, cool. Well, let's talk about other Filipino, since you mentioned JR. You guys follow any other Filipino, American or Filipino going to the mainstream that that we probably need to support and stuff? Go ahead.
No, there's a lot right now, but I do want to shout out Kiana V because I've also known her for a little more than 10 years now, and she has been. It's cool because I think that even though she is associated with her dad, Gary V, it's a big familial thing. I imagine. I can't imagine what kind of pressure comes with being Gary V's kid, but I think, especially as of late, she's really made a name for herself, especially out here in the US, and she's been doing a lot of international stuff. And I'm very proud of her journey. And I remember singing with her back in the day, a really great singer, almost felt a little timid, but now when she's performing, she's holding the stage down. She's killing it every time, and her own music. And she's working with the producer who produced my Red Roses album, Jesse Barrera, as well. So he's been doing stuff with her out here in LA. So I'm just, I wanted to shout her out. And as one of those Filipino American talents to watch out for, especially this year, next year's coming up.
And she's a guest of our concert too.
Yeah.
Yes, and that would be a good segue to talk about the concert. But before we do that, Maricel Villanueva says, Ryan Cayabyab's kids love your music, AJ.
I mean, that means so much. And I love that, you know, I used to listen to Ryan Cayabyab's music when I was a kid because my family loved choir stuff. You know, so to hear that, anytime I show my mom something like that, where I'm like, hey, so-and-so from the Philippines knows who I am or knows my music and stuff. I love how excited she gets. And that makes me even more proud of myself, really, and the music and the reach that it has. And yeah, that makes me really happy. So thank you to Marcel. Appreciate you sharing that with us.
Well, how does it feel to be working with the national, you know, a national artist for music, right? Mr. Maestro.
Mr. C.
How is that? How do you feel about, you know, working with, have you worked with him before? Would this be the first time?
This will be the first time officially. We've met when I was in the Philippines, when I was on tour there for a little bit, and my mom met him as well. We took a photo, and I just remember her being so excited. But you know, my aunties and uncles, and they would sing his songs for choir and stuff, right? Like, it still hasn't hit me. When I told them the news that this was happening, you know, I posted on my Facebook, they're all so excited, but I won't get to feel it's real until I see the video of him playing along to one of my songs. So yes, that's coming up, and I'm so excited.
I bet.
He's super down to earth, though, isn't he? He was our first guest for when we switched over to the monthly format for Quantum Chike. Mr. C was our very, very first guest, and we all had a great time. He's such a
normal guy. Like,
yes.
we were on the Zoom with everybody. He's just, I'm like, is this one of my uncles?
Right? Well, we're all connected, right? In the Philippines, everyone is a tito or a tita, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what can people expect from you in the concert?
Well, yeah, I don't know how much I'm meant to say, but I am performing more than just the one song with Mr. C. Mm-hmm. We are doing.
Mention the song especially for people who follow you on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will say that the reason I chose this song for us to do with me to do with Mr. C is because this song is one of my biggest songs, and I recently did a collaboration with Moira de la Torre of this song, and I've heard this song being played in the Philippines even years later on the radio, even years later after I released it, you know? So it's still one of those songs that resonates, and it's called Without You. So yeah, that's my first time saying that out loud. Very cool because, again, Mr. C is going to put his flair to it. I don't know what musical stuff he's adding. So
oh my goodness.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be really crazy. Yeah.
John, kikiligin ka na naman.
Yeah, I will.
Obviously, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
I'm super excited, but I have a little bit of advantage from you, John. It's going to be a really, you know.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
That, you know,
you can put a gun to my head. I don't know anything. I don't have any. I'm just so excited to have you in the show, and I'm like co-hosting with you. So that's like
awesome.
That's it for me.
Love it.
Awesome.
So okay, so let's just talk about. Well, we have about 10 minutes here. What is your Christmas wish, AJ, for the Philippines and Filipinos? This is going to be a Christmas concert.
It is.
It is going to be a Christmas concert. What would be your Christmas?
Well, before you answer, AJ, tell Lana, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Okay, yeah, all right. What is your favorite Christmas song?
That's a good one.
And why? It's a Miss Universe question.
Well, my favorite Christmas song.
No, you're supposed to say thank you for that wonderful question.
Right. Yeah, right. That wonderful question.
Thank you.
Yeah, what you're thinking while you're thinking.
Yeah,
my favorite song during Christmas time in the Philippines when it's Christmas is I really love the song "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year."
Okay.
I sang that with my fiance last year for a show that I put on online called Crazy Talented Asians. It's a show that I put on, a concert series I put on out here. But it was the holiday edition, and we opened with that song, and little did she know I was going to propose to her by the end of the live stream. So that's where it happened. So
I saw
you
that
know,
video.
Wow.
yeah, so that's
Super cool.
yeah, that song means a lot to me because imagine I'm like sweating the whole time because it's a production within the production, but it's the opening song and we're singing "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year." She's looking at lyrics, I'm looking at lyrics, she's looking at lyrics while I'm trying to. I have the ring in my pocket right here, like, you know, it was so much on my mind, but I'll always remember that song because it kind of was the opener. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Congratulations. This is the second time you mentioned it on the show, and we kind of failed to acknowledge that the first time. Congratulations. That was super exciting. I saw it on YouTube. That must be, and
Right.
fiance, I'm sorry to get her name.
Yeah, Alyssa Navarro.
Alyssa Navarro. All right.
She also has a great voice.
She
Thank you.
does. You guys
They do.
sing together.
They do sound really good together, you know.
Yeah. You're
That-
MTV. You're
Thank-
meant to be.
MTV, yeah, that's a Filipino. And they always go one true part or something, OTP as
What's
well.
OTP?
One true partner or something. One true pairing.
One
Do you guys
true
hear that?
parent. Oh, wow. See, John, kaya nabubuko.
Okay, I know. I don't know
People
that.
can tell.
One true love.
I
OTL.
only know
OTL.
MTV.
That's the only one. One true love. That's it.
I love it. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you both. It's about to be a year since that. It was December 13th. So it feels new, but also we haven't seen too many people, obviously, because of the pandemic. So every time we see somebody, they're like, congrats, as if it just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, did you get married already, or
No, we haven't. We'll get married next August.
next August? All right.
Yay.
You're busy preparing for. Are you gonna get married here or in the Philippines?
We're gonna get married in Hawaii, actually.
Hawaii.
Oh, so you were scouting. I saw a video.
Yeah, we were in Hawaii.
Yeah, you were scouting. Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, we went there to actually pay for the deposit for the venue. So we're already there, and it's actually, you know, Filipino weddings obviously are huge, 300 people at least.
Half of Hawaii is Filipino. Sorry.
We're only having 40 people.
Okay.
Can you believe this?
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
No, I mean, you have to see. This is just me. Robbie and I got married twice. The first one was just for me and Robbie and our moms, because both our dads have passed away. So, and I'm big on that because I plan events. I don't want it to be all about the event versus all about us.
About you too, yeah.
Yes. So I 100% support the 40.
Love that, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
100%. Yep. All right. So then the next question is, what is your wish? What is your Christmas wish for the Filipinos?
Yeah, I would say this past year has, the one thing at least it's taught us is that nothing's ever really promised, you know, like not even tomorrow's promised. So I guess my Christmas wish would be that everybody is intentional with who they spend their time and energy with, because you never know when you'll see them again, and the more that we're all able to do that, then we grow empathy and compassion, you know, for each other. We're able to put ourselves in other people's shoes, and I wish that for the Philippines, and I wish it for the whole world as well. And even just in my own community, everybody around me, I hope we can have a little more of that intention and to say I love you to the people that you love, because you don't know the last time you'll see them. So yeah, that's my Christmas wish.
I love that. Awesome.
Love it.
So would you like to invite them to the concert once again? And let me put that up.
Yes, everybody, please. Maybe I forgot that it was called Rising Together. I love that. It's called Rising there. Yes, December 11th and December 12th, based on where you are in the world. But I will be performing with the Mr. Ryan Kayabyab, Mr. C, and of course with my good friends, sharing the virtual stage with two people who are like family to me. My Tito Gary Valenciano, who's been, kind of like a father figure to me. Every time I see him, he's always giving me pieces of wisdom, inspiring me, and my sister from another mother, Kiana V. So we hope to see everybody there. It's going to be live on Facebook, which is awesome. So be sure to go to gk-usa.org and we'll see everybody there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
And don't forget to watch out for further announcements on how to register for the event to make sure that you get the notification and the reminder and all of that so that you don't miss it. Thank you so much, AJ, for joining us this evening. Do you have any thing to promote? I know your new single "Waking Up Sucks Sometimes" is out on digital platform.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says on your website. Is that still on, or what?
Yeah,
what
yeah, that is actually my newest thing. I actually have been doing a lot of content on TikTok recently, and a lot of it is wedding entrances. So I play the piano here, which is right here actually, and I do the canon in D, some kind of classical song into like a pop song or into like a love song or a movie song that people love. So if you go on my TikTok and also my YouTube, I've been uploading them on my YouTube lately. I'm doing wedding entrances where I'm just playing the piano, and you can use it for your own wedding if you wanted to as well, which I've had a couple of people already send me videos of them who've used my wedding entrances.
Wow.
For their weddings. They've sent me photos and everything.
So,
Awesome.
I mean, this is off script. I know your keyboard is there. You said it. I mean, it's just there for the grabbing. Can you just do one for us? I'm sorry,
You
AJ,
have
but
even
you
more,
just said
AJ.
you volunteered the information. It's there. So
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Hold on.
There you go.
Let me load up everything.
He's doing it. Awesome.
All right.
See, Jen and I are kilig. There's no English translation for kilig, you guys. Sorry.
I know. For me, I thought it was the feels. That's
Yeah, the feels. Right.
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 I felt like check 2 3. Hold on. I'm gonna bring in let me know if you hear it, everybody.
Okay.
All right. Check. Can you hear that?
Yep.
All right. Let's see if you can hear the piano real quick. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that?
Yes, loud and clear.
What do? I don't even know. Okay. Here's just a little bit of a song that I wrote with a friend 12 years ago. So I hopped on a train 3 in the afternoon. I don't know when I'm coming back, but I hope that it's soon. See, I never thought that I'd have to leave your side. Your side. It's only physically, but know that you will be on my mind 24 hours at a time. 'Cause in my eyes, you are mine, you are mine. No matter where you go, I won't be very far. 'Cause in my head, I'll be right there where you are. 'Cause love has no distance, baby. Love has no distance, baby. No, not when it comes to you and me. Let me just come into this real quick because since we were just talking about it, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Donna, sing along.
With the kids jingle belling and telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
That was super awesome. AJ, Rafael,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, our friends in GK, thank you so much. That's just a little bit, that's just a
Little sample.
little
Sample.
sample, right, of what's going to happen on December 11 for the Rising Together concert, right? With Mr. C, Mr. Ryan Kayabyab, Gary V, AJ Rafael, and Kiana V. Thank you so much, Rafael, for joining us this evening. Thank you, John, for co-hosting with
Awesome.
me.
This was fun.
Thanks,
I
John.
was-
Thanks, Donna. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
catch us again next month, second Thursday of December. I don't know exactly what date that's going to be, but see you all in the next Quantum GK next gen. Good night, everyone.
Bye.